Welcome back to Anything You Want, the place where every whisper from the Turkish entertainment scene becomes tomorrow's headline. Before we begin, if you enjoy inside scoops and bold takes, hit like, subscribe, and press join to support Anything You Want for exclusive perks. Now, let's unravel today's tangled chapter. From the glittering sets of Istanbul to the talk show studios of Rome, an unusual ripple has begun to swell into a wave. Three of Turkey's most visible figures, the actor now rooted in Italy, Yaman, the luminous leading lady, Demet Özdemir, and her on-screen counterpart, Kagate Yulysoy, have found themselves inexorably bound together by rumor, restraint, and a cryptic sentence spoken far from home. What might have been an ordinary entertainment bulletin has instead become a case study in how a single, deliberately vague remark can reanimate a past and send public imagination racing. It began, quietly, with a series of images and behind-the-scenes glimpses, two co-stars whose chemistry on camera translated into friendly, sometimes intimate, exchanges off-camera. Viewers who followed every promotional still and candid snapshot saw the sparks, or at least they saw something the tabloids preferred to label as such. Predictably, talk threads multiplied. What begins as admiration for on-screen partnership can easily be recast as evidence of a private attachment when lenses and headlines conspire. Into this atmosphere stepped Yaman, removed geographically from the Istanbul circuit but not immune to its gravitational pull. Currently pursuing creative and commercial endeavors in Italy and balancing an international profile, Yaman was asked, while appearing on a program abroad, to comment on the buzzing relationship rumors linking Demet and Kagate. He paused, rather than supplying a declarative judgment. He offered a measured, ambiguous reflection on the nature of gossip itself, that what tabloids serve is not always identical to lived truth, that appearances may be manufactured, and that the machinery of publicity can sometimes imitate feeling. Those words, deceptively simple in composition but capacious in implication, landed like a stone thrown into a still pond. They rippled outward in countless iterations, social posts, threaded analyses, and pundits' monologues eager to mine motive and memory. For some audiences, Yaman's remark read as an oblique reference to a former intimacy, a sign that old chapters still exert influence. For others, it was a professional aside, a veteran of media cycles noting, perhaps wearily, that narrative often precedes authenticity in show business. Demet Özdemir's response, the deliberate silence from her camp, did not quell speculation so much as reframe it. Her representatives, according to those with access to her inner circle, emphasized a single, steady priority. The actress is concentrating on her artistic commitments and declines to comment on matters of private life. In tone and content, the statement was succinct. In its brevity lay an attempt to draw a clear boundary between occupational focus and tabloid fodder. That refusal to engage, however, was interpreted by some as strategic, by others as dignified discretion, while still others treated it as tacit confirmation that curiosity would always outpace clarification. Kagate Yulysoy, for his part, navigated the inquiry with an equally guarded posture. Asked whether the closeness observed on set had grown into something personal, he answered by invoking professionalism. Their collaboration is centered on the craft, he said, and personal conjectures fall outside the purview of their public exchange. The statement's polish did little to extinguish the ember of interest. In many ways, such non-denials operate like accelerants in the gossip economy. Measured neutrality often invites more scrutiny than a forthright denial. A darker current began to flow as unnamed sources purported to reveal more, whispers that Yaman had privately characterized the rumored liaison as television PR, allegations that intimate moments had been staged to catalyze audience attention. Added to this were reports, unverified and therefore necessarily treated with caution, that Yaman's partner in Italy, model Sarah Bluma, urged him to close the past and avoid reigniting old public stories. When personal history meets professional calculus, the boundary between grievance and self-preservation grows porous. Allies and intimates become players in a narrative they may not have chosen. What, then, should a thoughtful observer conclude? The cautious answer is that certainty remains out of reach. The evidence available are photographs of two co-stars spending time together, a tactful refusal to comment by one party, a wry, philosophical observation by another, does not logically compel a single interpretation. It yields instead a plurality of plausible narratives, genuine mutual affection, a friendship misread by eager fans, a publicity-optimized closeness designed to benefit a show's ratings, or some hybrid combination. The complexity of human motives resists the tidy headlines the tabloids prefer. For viewers who follow these developments closely, the episode offers a secondary, and perhaps more instructive, lesson: the need for media literacy. When seasoned performers speak in generalities, listeners should be mindful of what is being signaled intentionally and what remains inferred. When representatives issue brief statements, they frequently aim to expel speculation rather than furnish evidence. And when images are circulated without context, they may represent choreographed publicity as often as private truth. Before we pause for reflection and viewer commentary, a reminder: if you want more investigative coverage that probes beyond the snapshot, that teases out the motives behind public statements and explains why particular narratives catch fire, make sure to subscribe to Anything You Want, press like, and if you feel generous, click join to support deeper reporting. Your interaction not only helps the channel grow but also signals to us which angles you most want explored. Mid-video, tell us in the comments, would you like an in-depth timeline of Demet and Can's public history? A breakdown of how PR cycles operate in Turkish television? Vote now in the comments below. The story will, naturally, continue to evolve. New images, offhand remarks, or a single interview could reframe public interpretation overnight. Until then, the truest thing one might say is that the narrative has become less about evidentiary proof and more an expression of contemporary fascination. People not only crave intimacy but also the spectacle of it, and they readily accept curated glimpses as whole narratives. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think the observed closeness between Demet Özdemir and Kagate Yulysoy is a natural byproduct of shared creative labor, or an engineered moment designed for publicity? Is Yaman's remark a protective dismissal or a sign of private unease? Share your verdict below in the comments and be sure to tell us which celebrity pairings you want us to cover next on Anything You Want. Your votes shape our next episodes. As we close, a final plug from the heart of the channel. If you value fearless cultural reads and balanced unpacking of celebrity developments, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and consider joining Anything You Want to enjoy exclusive member-only segments, ad-free deep dives, and Q&A sessions where we dissect the industry with nuance. Your engagement is how this community grows, and the more you tell us, the better stories we bring. Thank you for staying with us to the end of this report. We'll continue to watch the story's next moves and return with updates as they become verifiable. Until our next episode, keep your questions sharp, your skepticism healthy, and your curiosity alive, because in the world of fame, every paused smile and measured silence may be the beginning of a new chapter.